Right, morning guys. So, just about to head to work. So I'll be at work very briefly. I just want to double check a few measurements on that template I made up for the sill rocker panel. And then I'll just triple check the measurements against the other one of what I've bent to what the good one is on the car. And then I'll lay out a few measurements on the panel, and then we'll throw it in the back of the car and we'll run into the sea and the cargo, which is 50,000-60,000 people. Righty, so I'm here at work. Just trying to work out what the hell I'm going to do with it other side to try and get that floor to lift through here. I think it's going to be a real fucking curse to try and get it back to how it would have been factory, if you know what I mean. I really need to get gas sorted for the oxy-acetylene. I can't remember which one I'm short of. I think oxygen, but the owner of the shed normally does that. He normally sorts all that stuff out. And I keep forgetting to ask him to do it. But yeah, what was I trying to say? Yeah, it almost needs a bit of heat through there and then some tension put on it, like I've actually got now. I've actually got a couple of ratchet straps on there. I don't know if you can see, you can now, across those, just down to the bottom of the rocker and I just put a wee bit of tension on it as if it would pull up. It comes up off the jack as well, but it's to get it to stay there is the biggest issue, because you can't have ratchet straps on it and the jack on there when you're trying to put a rocker on. Ideally, you'd have that on there and then you could heat. It's the steel and stuff. It would just, I think if you got it nice and cherry red in a few spots across that plate that's on the side where it's been all bent and stretched, it would probably come back, and that, I think it kind of looks like mainly that rear door opening with that piece where I cut it out. I think that's the piece that's really low. It's been pulled down on there, and I think it, if you got that to come up, I think it would solve a lot of issues, because even with that bit of tension on there and then sitting this back in place where it would normally be, like with this edge, sitting on that bit of steel where it is, it actually sits reasonably close to normal. But I'm just going to double check these measurements. Yeah, it's like low. This is too low. When you got this panel, like we're down probably a quarter of an inch here. It's probably it's actually probably not too bad here. There's that bit of pressure on. You gotta be careful I don't frickin' tear this off here. I'm just trying to see if I can get it to lift. I think that would be the way to do it with the jack, and maybe a couple of straps further out, and just heat it and just hold tension on it until it's cold, and then hopefully it doesn't pop back down. To get it the nicest result, if you know what I mean. Right, I'll stop waffling. We'll re-measure here. Bring this a little further out. I'll bring this slightly further up. Which might make a difference. Right. do another tester. We'll double check that. I'm going to use to test with, so I'll find something that I can make a tester out of. Right, so I'm still here trying to get this second piece made. It's too short, but it doesn't matter because it's only short on the piece that's going to go over the top. This will tell me roughly whether we're right. I've got to put a last pin in here, but I was just sitting there going, man, how can I make sure that these fucking angles are right? Because it's such small little pieces. Like unless you had like a little tiny angle finder or something like that, if you know what I mean. It's almost impossible. And I was like, you dumbass, you got a profile gauge. So anyway, so this is the bottom of the rocker, and this is the top part. So this is my original one. So here, this is the bottom. So I had this miles off, as you can see, but this one here is bloody near spot on. It's close enough, you know what I mean? And then this here, I haven't got obviously the distance across the face, the main face like this piece, but as long as the new one matches that distance, which is 86 millimeters across here, yeah, I just didn't allow enough for the bends the first time when I made this. So, yeah, where am I? Here. And this is meant to be this bend here. So this is miles off too. So I've got to try and get this one here to match. Does that fit there? It's fucking miles away. What's wrong here? What's not working? We'll go put this back over and we'll have a compare. I'll come back to you. Right, so I've done a little bit more playing. I think what's end up happening is I've actually got too much material in here. If I measure it on this end, it doesn't really match up very well at all, but at this end it's actually pretty close. So I'll mark this end. And we'll take our angles from here and just need to adjust this depth. I've got too much material in there. Right, try and show you. So yeah, it's not too bad. So yeah, it's just there's a little bit too much material from here into here. It's a bit deep. But apart from that, it's not too bad. It needs to be about 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, a bit shorter in just that one measurement. Oh, here I am leaving work, thinking, oh yeah, I'll call to work. I'll be freaking half an hour, 20 minutes, 2 hours bucking later. Oh well. All right, we're heading to town now. Well, unfortunately, they can't do it right away, so yeah, may have to come pick it up tomorrow or something like that. I might get Mrs. Runner to pick it up, or he might actually drop it around to the owner of the car because he's obviously works in town. We'll just see what happens. But I've given him a number and whatever, so we'll find out. Yes, I used to actually work next door to this place. So yeah, this building here that you can see on the side, I actually used to work in this place here. It's now called Diamond Roofing. It used to be called a Stewart Roofing, big massive factory, like running big sheets of iron and stuff like that. So I used to work there from about 2000-ish to about 2006. I think it was when I finished there. Yeah, well, I got sick of freaking working there. But it taught me a lot of just sheet metal sort of fab skills, just bending up all sorts of crazy stuff. Right, so I'm back here now. It's after lunch. So I think what I'm going to do is going to clean up this back area and maybe start picking that dog leg off as well, so I can get the new ceiling when I've got it back. I might even grind up this and clean this up, so that needs to be done. Get this cleaned up. I think I'm going to have some gas here. Got some oxygen coming, I think. That's what I'm out of anyway. So, and then we might be able to, once we get that cleaned up, made this off, and by that stage hopefully my gas bottle will be here. We'll see if we can put some pressure from underneath. And I think what I'll do is hopefully I'll just be able to use the jack and that bit of angle iron, pop that up underneath it, and at least then I can see when it's flat. I wish I had a longer piece. I don't know if I've got a longer piece without being over length, if you know what I mean. I've got plenty of long pieces, but a longer piece without being, you know, this one might be longer. I don't know. Let's see. Well, I've got a couple of these 3 bits. Yeah. I'll get rid of pieces. A little longer. A little longer. That'll be better than nothing. We've got heaps of big, long stuff like, you know, 2.5, 3 metre pieces, 4 metre pieces, but I don't really want to cut them up. I'd rather just use a piece that I've got lying around. Yeah, and that'll give us an idea, that'll tell us whether we're getting flat or not. We put some pressure up, so if we can get the gaps to close up, it might come right then. And I'll get this off too. I'll get that other piece off. I was kind of leaving it there as a reference at the moment, but I don't think it'll matter. When we get it off, we'll get it out of the road, and then when we eventually get the other one here, we can trim everything to suit anyway. So we'll do that. Put my top back on. It's not cold, it's not freaking hot. I think I'll clean this corner up first. And start taking this off.
It's definitely a little ugly. It still looks solid enough on the inside. It's been patched a few times. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here. It's got this big fucking ugly piece there. I'm hoping I might be able to just nick it off. We'll see obviously what it's like, how solid it is. We'll give it a wee. But my bucket of sandblasting shit, we might just better give it a wee blast in there. Just pull this crap out of the road. I won't go mad, but give it a wee blast in there. And cut the excess off. See if it's solid enough. And then we might be able to clean it up and dress it up and actually make it look halfway decent. And then spray a frickin' rust kill and shit in there. I'm obviously going to have to do quite a bit of the rest of the wheel arch as well. So I'm just feeling how far I need to go. Because it's actually been patched right up to here. And I'm not sure what's going on the inside. So this piece here looks like solid, okay, this piece here. But then obviously we've got all this rust around here as well. It's been all boogered up. So I'm not really sure quite how I'm going to make that yet. That's where a tipping dial would come in handy. We'll see what we can do. See what we can do. I may even better make a piece. I don't know whether I'm going to make it straight and maybe stretch it and shrink it and get it to curve like that. I don't know. Something I haven't done a lot of, making big long patches like that around wheel arches. I've made sure. Not bigger, longer stuff, but we'll carry on getting this off anyway. And then we'll see when we can clean it up. On overlaps. Yep. The inside bit too.
Audio Jungle.
Try that. Alright. Righty. So, I'm making a bit of progress here. So I'm getting a bit of rough shape in this panel. You've seen me TIG screw it to this. I TIG screwed it to this so I can actually fit it to this. And then I can TIG screw this onto here so I can see, or try and see in here, to see what I gotta do to get this to meet to that. Because it's very awkward. You know, you could just sit, you know, you could sit there and make it look like it fits and glue it on, and then it would be 100 miles away. So at least I know this here, and this is screwed on here, in theory is in correct position. Once it's screwed down on here and it's clamped tight, and as long as it's sitting pretty good on here, it can't really go anywhere else. So if I've got this screwed onto here with a couple of TIG screws, basically mimicking a weld or three, then you can see by having a look on the inside what we've got to do to make this panel here fit to this. This has been patched obviously into here as well. I'm just trying to work out what I can do to make this. I reckon I could almost make a straighter piece with a step die and just try and get that profile of the step die, and then bend that piece and that piece. Give it a bend and see if I can, or especially where I need my tipping die, because I could tip this with a wee bit of radius in it. It's fairly flat through there at that point. It probably needs a little bit of radius. As long as I get it close, you know, a body part will fix the rest. It can't be any worse than what's on there and the way it's been boogered up and patched. Like, this is still original by the looks of it. But yeah, gosh, she's had some weird and wonderful patches before. Is that a lap over top? Might be. I'll have to have a better look at that. We'll see. I don't like stuff being lapped over top. It's not the fucking one way to do it. Well, not for longevity anyway. It'll rust from behind. So I think this should fit on there now, because this was catching on here. It was getting jammed in between. So I've just kinked this a little bit in the folder, that edge, and so you just put it in there, put an 3/8 of an inch. Just gave it a wee bend, or 10 mil. Gave it a wee bend in the folder, just with one finger in the folder. Just keep going around it, just to sort of break it a little bit. So we'll screw this back together. See when I get in there, I might have to put a jack underneath and whip the wheel off, and so I can get the head right in there, but we might be able to see just enough to let the wheel off, just to see what's going on, and see what I got to do to make it work and fit. See how much more shape I'm going to put into this. Right, so at the moment, I'm having to really quite curl this around, and every now and again I have to do a few little shrinks on the edge of it just to get it to obviously stop wrinkling up. So yeah, hopefully this time it'll fit in there, and then I can get in and have a look, see what I need to do to actually make it fit. And then once I got it fit, I'm hoping I might be able to actually come in from the inside with a T screw, bang a couple of T screws right through it, if I can, hold it in place, and then I can take the outer piece off, and then we might better at least see what we got to do to make it fit in better, and join it in and weld it in, and then we can go from there, obviously. So yeah, I know this is too long, and it doesn't matter once I get the rocker back, the new one, and we've got the gas here for the gas plant now for the oxyacetylene. So tomorrow, it's about, I don't know, 4:15 or whatever it is. So I'll try and get this thing to fit tonight before I go home. We're really close to it. But we'll throw that bottle on in the morning and jack it up, and we'll heat the crap out of that center part of that inside of the rocker seal, whatever you want to call it, where it goes in that floor piece, and we'll see if we can get that to lift. And I think with enough heat, especially with like a proper oxyacetylene and a cutting torch, a rosebud torch would be better, but with a cutting torch would be fine. We should better get a nice big hot spot on there, and work it until it wants to come up, because it should let it relax, if you know what I mean, and get it to pull in and come up. But I think if we maybe heat it down near the bottom first, possibly, and just get it to shrink in near the bottom with enough strength, with enough pressure, it should come up. If we've got to beat it straight afterwards a few times and heat it and beat it a few times, if it wrinkles or whatever, so be it, if you know what I mean. I'd rather get it nice, especially when it's been, a restored, I wouldn't say restored car, but a revived, restored car. It's not going to be factory, but it'll be close to factory. The paint job won't be. Man, I don't think it originally would have been a 273. Probably would have been a 283 or something like that originally. It was definitely a V8 car, but it's what we call certified over here for the engine change. Oh no, I don't think you have to, because it's just a straight swap. It's if you go way bigger in capacity, but yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I can't remember. I remember when he bought it that it's had anything that would have been done for its minor modifications, which you're going to go through here. I think it was all checked off for that. But yeah, I don't think they get too panicky. It would be different if it was like a 383 stroker or something like that, and it had fucking 600 horsepower. Then you'd have to get it probably. You'd have to do brakes and shit, because I think it's even still on drums. Yeah, it's still on drums. All the way around. But hey, if the drums are in good nick, they work well, unless you're doing fucking 100 miles an hour, or 150 miles an hour. What does it matter, as long as you're not freaking screaming up the corner and stomping on them all the time. The old drums work fine. Anyway, we'll do a little bit more shrinking here. We'll get this fitted, and hopefully we might better. I don't know whether I'll better get a couple of T screws in from behind. I'll probably have to take the wheel off, but at least then it'll be sitting in the right place. And hopefully if I take that outer piece off, and do the couple of screws here and a couple of screws in there, it will stay in the right place, and we'll better maybe weld it in tomorrow or whatever, if you know what I mean. Depends on how quick I can get that rocker back. But if we can get this side of the car sorted while I'm waiting, it doesn't really matter as long as I'm moving forward. Anyway, we'll shrink it. And, we'll go from there.
see if I can show you. Oh, there it is. So good to hear where that black mark is. It's pretty much touching all the way down there. It's perfect. It's just the top part of it. It's fucking awkward to show you. But yeah, I've got to curl that background in. It's not touching yet. So I've got to pull a bit more, curve in the inner brown to wherever that mark is. So we just got to curl it around a wee bit more so it touches the inside piece. So it fits better. So awesome. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. You know, that was a straight piece of metal, and you know, just with a string of stretcher and a wee bit of a hammer. Amazing what you make fit. Alright, I've pretty much got it. So I drew around, obviously up here, the marker just to see where it was touching. Just to see where like the overlap and everything was. So that's cool. And down here is where the end piece tucks around there and touches. So that you can see we're up to there, and then we're sort of slipped into the other bit where it sort of changes from the inside to the outside. So that's awesome. I'm hoping if I give this a bloody good clean up, I'll probably sandblast in there tomorrow and then treat it with something, and then I might be able to, I'm hoping, I don't know if I'm going to be able to tech screw it. I might be able to put a tech screw down in here. I don't think I'll get one in the top. I might sneak one in somewhere in here up. I'd like to be able to get it in there somehow and get it to hold. You know, but I might be able to sneak just one in here somewhere. I'm not sure, it just depends on, I'm hoping I might be able to just sneak one in here just to help hold it. And maybe a tack weld or whatever. And then hopefully we might be able to just come along, and where that's overlapping on the outside, we might be able to just trim it off and start welding it from the outside here. Oh, sorry, start welding it from the inside here once we sort of trim off the shit. You know, we might be able to get rid of some of this ugly edge, obviously. And then do the opposite once we get down to here, trim this off, you know, and weld it, you know, from down in here. And then once we've sort of got the rocker on, I'm thinking I would like to put the rocker on before I put this on. I'm not sure on that. I'll just, if I can get it here, at least I can sit the two together and I can work out which way I want to put what on first, if you know what I mean. It doesn't really matter. I can probably put that on, to be honest. And then we can finish cleaning this shit up down here. Still got a bit of crap to clean off. Got all this shit to clean off here yet. I haven't got around there yet. But yeah, I'm about to bugger off for the day. And yeah, we'll take it again tomorrow. And hopefully, yeah, like we said, we'll get some freaking heat into this thing. Then we've got some oxygen. And we'll see if we can get that fucking floor to come up. We've got to be able to improve it anyway. I hope. It would be nice to see it look like the other side. It would just be nice to be able to do it properly when somebody else didn't. You know what I mean? It'd be quite satisfying to get that pretty fucking close. Yeah, because that's like it's not as though you could just trim that off straight and it would make it fit better, because that's still low, you know. The whole fucking thing's got to come up. So as long as it doesn't collapse that way and it spreads the other way, if I can get enough heat in it, hopefully it'll move in the right places, if you know what I mean. I might have to just heat a big massive patch so it will stretch and lift, and because there's quite a bit of strength through there. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do to make it move, but hopefully we can. Without screwing everything up, if you know what I mean, without collapsing it in the wrong direction. We'll find out tomorrow, I guess. But yeah, at least we got that made. We've got that piece, you know, fitted. I don't know if we'll just clean this up, I think. You know, the rest of it, and we'll just put some rust convert and whatever in there, and then obviously weld that over top, plug weld it, and clean it up. And we'll join it down through here somewhere. You know, we'll get a final seam, work that out. May even come just right on the seam a bit. We'll work that out a wee bit closer to the time. Just where we want it. Do it. You know what I mean? Got a wee bit of trimming there to do that. But yeah, I don't think it's worth putting anything on here. We'll see. Because I think it might be a bit thin if we screw around with it too much, but it'll probably plug weld on okay. Now if we can get it cleaned up and treat it, it should be fine. I think, you know. I just think we would end up burning a lot of it away just trying to put this little wedge on for... It's not going to make a lot of difference at the end of the day, as long as we can get it treated and cleaned up. Should be good. Alright, and we'll see you tomorrow. Right, welcome back to Thursday morning. So I think what I'm going to do, I've got the bottle set up, got to clean up the floor. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll put the back wheel back on, put it on the thing. So I think I'll put the bit of bar angle on the jack. We'll jack that up, put a bit of pressure on it, and we'll give it a heat. I'm not really quite sure where I'm going to heat that. Like I've said quite a few times, it's got a bloody hell of a bow on it. So yeah, we'll try and put some pressure on it, put some heat on it. I'm just not quite sure where to put some heat on it. I might just try along in here first, up here, and try and see if I can get that to, I don't know whether it'll spread or not. That's why I welded this on. Yep, tack weld that on to hopefully so it'll move without being everything completely tied in. Yet, see if we can get that to come up, and yeah, go from there. I did think about doing it at the bottom, but I thought if I do it right at the bottom, it may collapse under the weight. So I'll do it at the top first, and we'll see how it reacts. See if we can get it to come up and flatten out. And with obviously, we'll basically take the weight of the wheel, the whole body on this side, and see if it'll flatten out.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get another trolley jack. Go grab the old man's one. And I'll put that a little bit further down and then put it a bit more underneath where it's the Tron. Get a wee bit more even pressure. And see if we can get it to move with a bit more heat. I think it'll go. It's just a matter of just getting enough heat into it to get it to just spread. Right, Dad's jack, so I got to put that in the car. And I'm going to fix this stupid fucking phone holder that Mrs. bought there a wee while ago. It's got this dumb friggin' connection thing on it for the base. And every time you think you want to like pull your phone off or adjust it for an angle or something like that, or turn it from horizontal to vertical, the fucking thing falls off. It's an absolute pain in the ass. So I probably got super glue at work, but I just freaking thought about it before because I was just thinking before, like when I freaking hopped in the car and went to put it on, the fucking thing fell off again. I was like, when I'm at Dad's, I know he's got super glue here somewhere, I'll freaking glue the bastard on and I won't fucking forget. That's what I need to buy too as myself, is a decent pair of fucking wire strippers. These are freaking like this sort or similar, freaking handy. Dad's had these for years. It's like one of those things I've got the freaking the crappy ones that everybody's had, for years and years and years, but I keep forgetting to buy myself a decent pair. I know he's got fucking something over here somewhere, I've seen it. There it is. Oh God. There we go. There was some here, some gel glue. That'll do. That'll do. Yeah, I knew he had super glue somewhere. Use that. And grab one of them. Batteries too. From the old frickin' Chinese shop. That's what I'll do for that. It's just absolute pain in the ass. You make some of these things so frickin'. Like the idea is good, but you use it frickin' 3 or 4 times and then that slot frickin' wears in here. And then the fucking thing just, every time you fucking blink at it or fart or sniff, it, the fucking thing jumps off. So we'll do that, we'll fix it. Alrighty, so I've got 2 jacks here. I've heated the crap out of it. Hopefully, I forgot to turn the camera on, I probably spent 20 minutes just running the torch backwards and forwards on there. I never get anything red hot, but definitely got quite a bit of heat in it, and I did across the top here. Hopefully now it's it'll hold position. I'll just leave the jacks and that there until it becomes cold to touch again, and then we'll have we'll let it down, we'll recheck to make sure it's going to hold straight, and then once we get the valance or the new rocker here, we can see how it fits, and then we can adjust it again from there. Because as long as it stays straight, if it doesn't stay straight, we'll do some more heating and we'll get it hotter. We'll get it more red. I got it to where it was sort of yellowy hot, not red hot. But I heated from probably here back to about here, just along that sort of top 2 inches of that, and then probably a good inch or more in here. Got it fairly hot in places. Try and get that to relax and stay up. So yeah, hopefully when it cools it stays. We can only try. So now I might start cleaning up around that wheel arch again now and or maybe fit that front bit of the dog leg. Right, as you can see, I haven't gone real hard out in there. I just sandblasted or media blasted in amongst that opening in that where that dog leg in here. I haven't gone mad. I've given it a bit of a clean up. Clean the work of the surface, I guess. I will spray some rust treatment in there. It doesn't have to be dead perfect, like the rust treatment will. You're never going to get everything anyway in there. We're just trying to clean it up. We can spray some rust treatment in there and whatever. That's kind of what we're doing at the moment. I'm just trying to get myself prepared and then work out what I'm going to do to fit that up. It was very low down here. I reckon I pushed it up half an inch. Looks like it. Right, it worked. Probably come a little more, but I think it's better. I think it's definitely better. It's definitely better. Because this is more level now, too. to see whether I don't know if you can see there or not. I'll shift you on. Frickin' spring on it. I'll just zoom in a little bit there. Hopefully you can see. Hopefully you can see here. So if that's sitting up on there, this is the wrong one, but it's this dimension's right, and that there's close, if you know what I mean. This here probably needs to come up a little bit so it can sit roughly in the right place, but we just hold that up a little bit. Ooh, it should be okay, I think. It looks like we're close. We close that door. You know, we're a million miles away, like probably a little bit tight at the top. We haven't got the other door on to double check it. This is the type thing. But the gaps, it's reasonable down there. It's evenish. Door come down a little bit at the top. So it's not a million. It's not a million. I might just see if I can lift. I might just see if we can lift that a little bit more in that spot, just to get that, this piece here. I'll zoom you out a bit. Just so we can get this piece here on there, just to come up, just so we can get that to sit a bit more level with this here. At the moment it's still too low, but it needs to come up a little bit just so we can keep this level with here. Like it's meant to tuck underneath, you know what I mean? It needs to come up a little bit. What time I got from there to there? This side here really now is probably not far away. Yeah, we can make this side work. Just wonder if we leave it. It's definitely better than it was. I might just put the straight edge down the bottom again. Let's have another wee look. Have another wee look. It looks like it's still a little bit sagged, but it hasn't got quite the bow that it had. Which is good. We're not far away now. No, it's got something here. And this isn't pulled down yet. But I haven't hammered that back down and welded it on. This panel here will come down a little. Way up here. Just on the side. We've definitely got more of this chassis showing. I think I might just leave it until we get the panel made. We can double check it then, I think, to make sure, like I said, we'll bolt the door hinges on and check that too, check the back door. We'll have to cut this off, just this piece, not an inch, just protrudes the door open a little bit. We'll clean this shit up. Get this overlap off it. And we'll concentrate on getting this on. Maybe the dog leg on. And we'll get this shit cleaned up. This treated in here anyway. We'll worry about this until later. And then we might start going around the rest of the wheel arch. Right, so sprayed some rust kill on there before I went for lunch. So I think I'll have a quick sweep up again, get rid of some freaking more shit off the floor, and then I'll tech screw that dog leg in the inner on and see if I might have to whoop that wheel back out of the road again, and see if I can get the inner attached so I can take the outer off, and then we'll see if we can at least get tack welded in there so it's pretty solid and trim away the shit that we don't need there. Yeah, I think that's sort of the plan, and then I might move around the wheel arch a bit and see if I can work out what I'm going to do to make the step that's in that edge. Let's zoom in a little bit. We've got it it comes down here and then out, and it's got it's 90, but it's got an edge that comes over and then it's got a little step in it. I think I might be able to make that with a B-roll. I'm thinking partly is put some tape on there, some masking tape, mark out this shape here and around here, lay that on a piece of metal, give myself, you know, an inch and a bit here, and maybe an inch or so around here, and then we can work out where to put that bead, get a measurement, and then we might run right through step die on the bead roller, and see if, or whether we pass with a bit of scrap, and see if we can get it, see if we can get this to match reasonable. And with on here, this has kind of got it, but it's not really. So we'll try and get something to resemble this with maybe a step die. This is actually more prominent. But we might be able to just put a little bit of pressure on the step die and maybe push it out a little bit, just to form this, and then we might be able to break that and hammer that and break that and bend that. Man, I wish I had a fucking tip and die. Yeah, we'll work on it anyway and see if we can get that shape. As long as we mark that curve, and with a shrinker stretcher and a hammer, we should be able to at least get this piece made, because we might get rid of all this, just put a whole new fresh piece around there. And if we can do it in one hit, I will. But we won't cut that off until we get it made, and we'll get it laying over top and get it as close as we can get it, and then we'll cut that off, and then we can look at the inner as well, because we'll probably have to make the inner as well, let's say. Righty, she's going on there. But holy shit, that freaking steel is thin on the end of the wheel arch. It must be just obviously got really thin. And I've tried to, it's unfortunate, I probably should have made that panel just a little bit deeper. I'll try and remember it on the other side, just give it a bit more length. I only allowed about an inch and a quarter. Probably should have allowed almost probably an inch and a half or a bit more, just to get past that thin edge a bit. Obviously we cut it off and stuff, but it was just very thin in there. I've managed to get most of it to out up. It's very freaking holy at the moment, but we'll get it filled, and I'm gonna have to freaking grind a whole heap of porcupines off the back. It'll keep blowing through. Now that we've got the majority of it welded in, we'll better get it in solid, and we'll have to it's gonna be a bit of a bitch, but I'm gonna have to try and get in there and grind it from the inside. That's where it's handy having a freaking diff out of the road on this sort of stuff, because then you get a bit more room to swing yourself freaking around in there. But you can sort of sit in there a bit easier, not having to climb in around the diff. But we'll get it. Almost looks like it needs pulled up there. It just needs banged up in a bit. So what I might do now, so that I've got that on there, then it ain't going anywhere. I'll screw that back on, make sure nothing's moved, and then we might start attacking the rest, because it just looks weird. It's almost like it's pulled out there. That possibly has with the heat. But hopefully we'll just better, maybe just a bit of a smack with a hammer. It might just realign itself. But it's on there now. It's on there now. Just looks a wee bit odd. It's not quite sure what's going on, but I haven't welded it on there either, so it's probably pulled away with welding it down there. But hopefully just a bit of manipulation. I might even better just nick it a bit more and just pull it in, because I haven't really welded it along here. Pretty much just only got 2 or 3 tacks, but holy shit, I blew some steel away down here. Absolute pain in the fucking ass. So, yeah, worst thing is too, is the further you get, the fucking harder it is to weld it. And you almost would have to jack this way up in the air and freaking get in from underneath and try and weld it. I was hoping to try and weld it from the side, because it's a damn sight fucking easier. Because you're looking down over top. But yeah. Anyway, we'll carry on. Alrighty. So, we're getting there slowly. This is going to take some work, obviously. By the time this is cut back in onto that, that'll sink in a little bit further and we'll also get rid of the junk. So that'll help just suck that in a little bit. So this won't be sticking out quite so far, which will definitely help. Whatever. But so I've got a bit of I need to shrink this a wee bit because it's pulled away from in here. It's comes along and then it dips down a little bit. I need to gather that back in a little bit. I didn't probably go quite too quick for a start off, but once I sort of started pulling this around, it started changing the shape of it a little bit. So it's obviously just a little bit of backwards and forwards until we get it to fit nice and get it to hook around under here, obviously. Just a combination of stretching and shrinking and whatever. And then I will work on trying to get this piece to fold around or something like that. Somehow, some way, we'll get a. I've actually run this around the. I put quite a bit of pressure on the bead roller. And actually run this around without it in here. We'll just run it around on the flats of the wheels, and just to try and smooth this out a little bit again. And I had to. It keeps, now that I shrink this, it puckers this up, so I got to keep hammering that down again. It's a bit of a pain. I probably just stretched it a bit quick in places. But that's what it is. We'll make it fit and work and whatever. Worst comes to worst, I'll make another one. Yeah, it's kind of what we need to do. I've only really got this in here for just a little bit of shape in here, just to mimic it. And I'd say by the time it's on there, they're just going to put a body filler on here and just try and make it right. Because this hasn't got much of it, like I said, hasn't got much of shape in there. I'd like it just to bend this here in a little bit, so it comes up to this, and then we can try and fit once we get it fitting better. And hopefully this pulls in another freaking 1/4 of an inch or whatever here anyway. Just holding it out, it's just not working. It's alright just to get this basic shape, and then we can work from there. But that's tomorrow's job. I'll keep working with that, and then hopefully we'll get this freaking sill. I'm hoping. I hope it don't take too long to make it. If I can get it tomorrow, I can screw around with it the weekend and get it to fit and put it on. To try and get myself a head. I was hoping to have that done in a couple of days, but just not being able to fold it up, and then this being very stretched. And trying to fix that floor so it was nicer. Really, each one of them's cost me a day. Just fighting with it. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be too, like I didn't realise it was so bowed down and whatever, you know. Yeah. It just is what it is, it's just, sometimes shit takes longer. But anyway, we'll fight with this again tomorrow and see if we can keep shaping. It's just a matter of keep playing with it until we get it all to suck into this nicely, and yeah, then try and get an edge on this. And trying to get it so it's not too frickin' lumpy and bumpy through there. Worst comes to worst, we'll panel beat it flatter, you know, and then form a bend into it. But we'll get it. We'll get it. As I say, sometimes shit gets really ugly before it gets pretty. Right, we'll get out of here. So anyway guys, different day, but thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, ask a question. I'm happy to answer questions, all that sort of stuff. I would really appreciate it. With all the people that are watching, yeah, please give me a thumbs up. It would make a huge difference. I'm getting hardly any for, you know, the 100 odd, 200 odd views I'm getting on most videos now. I seem to be getting a few more, which is absolutely freaking awesome. So yeah, if you can, give me a thumbs up, and if you want to come back and watch more, please give me a sub. It would just make a huge difference. You know, it just, a lot of time and effort goes into making these videos, and obviously, you know, working on these cars, but like making the videos as well while I'm working, and then all the editing will just make a huge difference. If you can, be muchly appreciated. You know, to help push it out into the YouTube thing and help the channel grow. You know, so I can help share my knowledge, and, you know, we can all learn on the way, you know. And if you see something that you think I can do a different way or do better, freaking tell me. Make a video about it, show me. I'm all for learning. That's why I watch all these other people. You know, Brent from Halfass and Make It Kustom, and what's, you know, Arco and them from Outlaw and the boys from Iron Horse, and like so many different channels I try and catch and watch. Ralfy from Ralfy's Kustoms in the UK making bikes, and Danny from DG Retro. That's why I watch all these people. We all do things differently. We all learn something from each other. And that's the best part about this YouTube stuff and community, you know. Even watching Dan from DD Speed Shop and a lot of those guys, you know, we all do things a little bit differently, and just occasionally you'll just see something and you go, you know, I've been trying to work that out for ages, or you'll just, somebody will just do something that you've been trying to do, and they'll just have just one little tip or trick that you'll just, the light bulb will come on, and you go, right, that's what I need to do to frickin' get that bit of metal to move that way, or whatever. You know, I'm constantly learning all the time. You know, I'm in the middle of making that wheel arch trim. It's actually lunchtime the next day, and I've actually just about got it, but you'll see it in the next video. You know, I use the English wheel a little bit around the edge just to bring the edge right and smooth it out and get it to come to where I want it to do, you know, without being wrinkly and all that sort of shit. It made a hell of a difference. You know, I had to shrink it a few times, just even around the edge, and then back to the English wheel and whatever, you know, because I don't have a planishing hammer and all that sort of stuff. But it's amazing, you know, if you don't have one thing, it's amazing what you can do with another tool, even though it's not really, you know, such a finicky little piece. You know, I'm only wheeling a little piece that wide, but it's amazing the difference it makes. You know, I even used the bead roller at one point to just help straighten the panel out. You know, just use the two flat surfaces of the die and just run it through there a couple of times, just to help smooth it out and flatten it out, because it was puckering up and doing all sorts of weird things on me. But so yeah, you'll see all that in the next video. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, and please like, share and subscribe, and leave a comment, ask a question, whatever, you know. Or if you see something that I should be doing that I'm not doing, I'm still learning, let me know. Leave me a link to a video on whatever, you know what I mean. I'm still learning. I want to learn more. That's what it's all about. Alright, cheers, thanks.